It is Friday, August 24th, 2018. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And it was a very educational, get your ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Friday. We covered a little bit of North-South, which I thought was kind of interesting, starting off from the North-South position and going from there. I had a little bit of difficulty with it myself. I don't know, I haven't been really pushing my cardio as hard lately. Although I did kind of pick it up this last week. I've been making a conscious effort to do so, to try and get my endurance up a little bit. And, it kind of paid off today. I did a good warm-up before class, and I felt really lethargic. But I was still able to keep myself a bit more composed on the ground. My opponent during the 5-minute round was guy was all over me. I mean, honestly, I was defensive the entire time. And credit to him. He was very good. Very aggressive. I think he needs to slow it down just a teeny tiny and think a little bit more about what he's doing. But I think if he had a few more tools in his arsenal, I probably would have been done for. I probably would have tapped like 8 times. I mean, because he was, like I said, he was very, very quick and very threatening. And that's good. He's very quick and very aggressive. But at the same time, I felt like if he slowed down just a teeny tiny bit and maybe applied a little more pressure, increased his contact a little bit, that he probably would have felt the position a little better. I don't know. Either way, I managed to sneak out of most of what he threw at me, and that was enough for me. But like I said, the guy kept me defensive the entire time. And he's even ranked under me, so it's like little fucking white belts schooling my ass. But you need these situations, kind of keep that ego in check, kind of poke him back in the belly and say, hey now, don't be getting carried away with yourself. There's somebody out there that can put you down. Maybe not this kid, but there is somebody out there. But yeah, it was very nice. And like I said, we started off from north-south, and that position for me, I don't mind it as much. I found a few transitions that I really like to go to from there. I like it because if you keep up with your opponent the right way, you can sneak them right into a maybe an armbar kind of setup. And actually, there's a few armbar setups from the north-south, but yeah, like I said, I don't mind north-south. It's not my favorite, and I don't think it's anybody's favorite per se. And if you do find somebody whose favorite is the north-south, look out. That guy spent a lot of time doing it. He's probably going to catch you in it. Going to get you in that transition. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw into some music. As far as where we're going today, again, I didn't really get a chance to get all squared away with regard to a particular story or subject matter, although I think I'm going to make an effort on that on Monday. But yeah, most of my day was spent setting up some stuff and some resolving some other stuff, and it's good to have some resolutions. It wasn't as resolved as well as I would have liked, but 90 out of 100 isn't too bad, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music, or throw into some music, as we have not thrown into any yet. And with regard to what to put in, though, First Dance. It's tough because I really want to go straight for Anthrax, really, but because it's A. But I'm not gonna. Here we go. Down, Losing All, First Dance, here on Coin Metal. And that was sixth with Behind the Doors. Yeah, as far as what we're going to get into today, this one is something that I've been wanting to talk about a little bit, because I really like Bitcoin Cash, mostly because it is going more along the lines of where I would have wanted Bitcoin to go. And really all I wanted was the 32 megabyte block space. But if the Bitcoin miners had that much block space, I don't think we'd ever have hangups in the network as far as getting transactions in the blocks. I think that issue would just go away. And I think adoption would go through the roof. People talk about the amount of market share that Bitcoin has lost. Honestly, I think it's just the value metrics of crypto. It's like, okay, if I can transact on the Bitcoin network for about $5 and move some sum of money, or I could go to Verge and the transaction would maybe be 2 cents. Maybe. I don't even think it would be that high. I'm pretty sure it'd be lower. Or I could do Bitcoin Cash. That would be a great deal lower than the amount that I would be paying on the Bitcoin network. And this is a value metric that I think people haven't had to take very seriously. It's like we can look at Bitcoin and say, oh, it's been active for 9 years, so the chances are my transaction is eventually going to go through. That's a pretty safe gamble. But the fact of the matter is that there are several cryptocurrencies out there that have been just as dependable as Bitcoin, or almost as dependable as Bitcoin. And so when you look at it over a long enough period of time, the risk of using these networks, the longer they're active and the longer they're functioning legitimately, the better they look against Bitcoin as an option to move your monetary value. And honestly, I never wanted that to be the case. I figured Bitcoin would be able to do it, and then we ended up in this whole fucking SegWit bullshit, and then the Lightning Network bullshit. And as far as I can tell, I really think that the same effect that happened with regard to mining will eventually happen, if not immediately, with Lightning Networks due to liability and trust issues and regulatory issues. That it will eventually happen. That eventually the only people that will be able to afford to transact on the blockchain will be huge brokers. Huge third-party brokers that will have a choice whether or not they want to process your transaction or allow your transaction on their little Lightning Network payment channels. And I say their payment channels because I really think that Lightning Network is supposed to be divvied up between 3, maybe 4 vendors per implementation, if not one entity owning all of them. But I think the regulatory burden that these networks will undergo once they go live and practical and all that, instead of being just experimental in beta, that again, the regulatory burden and whatnot, that they've already established the regulatory frameworks that they intend to apply to such businesses. And so it's just a matter of converting Bitcoin into a system that requires that type of gatekeeping going on. And then after that, then you can forget about being involved in Bitcoin. You can just go fuck off and do something else. But that's just the way I see it. And because of that threat, I think that altcoins will become an even greater part of the ecosystem. And we're already seeing that in Venezuela, where, you know, they'd been transacting in Bitcoin. That got too expensive. They started transacting in Ethereum and other altcoins, and some of those got too expensive, and now they're using Digibyte. It was either Digibyte or Dash. I think it was Digibyte, actually, that they were seeing this big spike in adoption. Well, take a look at Digibyte. It's cheap. The transaction fees on it are tiny. So why wouldn't you use that as an option? I mean, it's like, okay, you know, I've already divorced myself from bothering to use Western Union because they're ass rapey as hell, and the transactions take 2 forevers by comparison to the options available to me in crypto. See, what they've really cut out of the whole discussion about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin in particular is the idea of transactions settling to the blockchain. See, when they settle, it's finally established at that point who owns what. The coins have changed hands by all accounts. Okay, and while it's off-chain, that's in a big fucking gray zone. We don't know. We don't know when it's going to actually be put to the blockchain because it's at the discretion of somebody else. Anyway, so I think that eventually, yeah, it'll become too centralized and you'll have to switch to altcoins, as we've already seen other countries and people do. And companies, for that matter. There was a big spike in adoption for Bitcoin Cash among retailers. And it was because they're making an effort to make it easier for merchants to use. Which I really don't understand this idea of quote-unquote easier. Okay? If you're going to involve yourself in crypto, you can pretty much put yourself on the timeline of whatever currency you're using. So with regard to Verge, say, the block time on Verge is 30 seconds. So you're only going to have to wait 30 seconds for a legitimate first confirmation of the transaction, and it's as good as gold. You can go forward from there. But again, when you're looking at how much it costs you to do these things, you know, you've gone away from Western Union, you're not using a bank anymore to do it, you've gone to cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin's become too expensive, you're onto Ethereum, you're onto Ripple, you're onto Bitcoin Cash, you're onto other options. And when you become aware of all of these options, suddenly you start looking at it in terms of these are different vehicles that I can transact my monetary value in. Some of them appreciate and depreciate very, very rapidly. So I have to take that into account when I am doing my transactions. So if I accept a transaction in, say, Bitcoin Cash, I evaluate first whether or not that would be the best way to do it. Is Bitcoin Cash going down? Meaning the chances of me being able to cash out the Bitcoin Cash to another medium of exchange before it depreciates too much in value, is that more likely than if it were to be transacted in a different medium? You know, maybe the person that is buying it can afford it, or has the capability rather, to use a different cryptocurrency. One that isn't on the Bitcoin network, isn't bound to Bitcoin in any way, shape, or form. You know, because maybe Bitcoin's on a downtrend, or Bitcoin Cash is on a downtrend, and I'm not going to be able to. I can look at the fucking chart and be like, nah, dude. Likelihood is I'm going to end up eating about 10% on this transaction. You know, and if I don't, I'm going to end up having to wait about a week for it to recover above where the current exchange rate for me to make a profit on it. And that's untenable for me. I gotta have those funds liquid so that I can utilize them to purchase supplies. And maybe take the little lady out or something, I don't know. But the point being that there are different options available. It's not just you will take US dollars, you will take Venezuelan bolivars, you will take Chinese yen. That's not really the discussion that should be had. It should be, which currencies do you find acceptable to use at this time? Oh, well, at this time I think, Bitcoin would be advantageous to use. According to the trajectory, it looks like it's going to go up. And currently the fees on transactions are relatively minimal because, there's not a whole lot of traffic out there. And so we'll just do it on Bitcoin. Yeah, I can wait the 10 minutes for the first confirmation. Of course, assuming that it actually gets in a block the first time around, which is not really high likelihood. But point being, I can afford to wait. Because according to everything else I can see, in the time that I'm going to wait, it's probably going to go up in value. And so I'm going to make even more money on the transaction than I would have if I'd taken the money in a different currency. It's one of the things I love about cryptocurrencies is that we have that freedom, that we can use a currency's characteristics to our advantage in a way that only banks have been able to do this shit before. They look at the chart too and they're like, oh shit, it'd be advantageous if we held the monetary value in silver right now because, the current medium we have is going down in value, silver's going up in value. We can do that on our books and not bother to tell anybody about it. Well, of course, except in the markets that we're dealing in silver, of course. But as far as outside of that, we don't have to communicate that. It's just we made a profit on the books, assuming that, of course, silver continues to go up during that interval, or was more profitable than other options that were available. Again, these kinds of choices have not been available to us. But now that they are available to us, it's up to us to be using those metrics to be communicating back to these cryptocurrencies and the miners and the dev groups exactly how we want to use them. Rather than letting talking heads like me tell you, oh, you've got to use SegWit. SegWit is the only way. SegWit will scale everything. You know what? That's not my position. It's not my position to think for you. I can inform you. I can read articles to you. I can read white papers to you. I can give you my analysis and my deep thought about it. But it is you. You're the rubber. You're where the rubber hits the road as far as downloading the software and deciding what implementation you want to run on what hardware. That's all you. That's all you. Anyway, got this article here on bitcoinnews.com. BCH Roundup. Millions of merchants, more tokens, and clashing visions. This is authored August 25th, 2018. So we're getting it from the Time Travelers. No indication of who exactly wrote this. Let's see if it's actually an article from somewhere else. No. It looks like original content. Anyway, continuing on. There's been a lot happening within the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem over the last week as far as development and upcoming announcements concerning the future of BCH. Further, the network has been seeing a lot of activity lately, with transactions stemming from stress test experiments in preparation for September 1. This week, the BCH community mostly discussed the recent disagreements between the Bitcoin ABC and N-Chain development teams. BCH market action. Bitcoin Cash markets, like many other cryptocurrencies, seem to be on the mend, as price values have seen some upswings in recent days. At press time, the decentralized cryptocurrency is averaging $532 per BCH across global exchanges. BCH holds the fourth largest market capitalization at around $9.2 billion today. Bitcoin Cash trade volumes are around 298 million, with the asset capturing the fifth highest trade volume on August 24th. The top 5 exchanges swapping the most Bitcoin Cash today include Binance, CoinEx, OKX, HitBTC, and Huobi. Tether USDT currently captures 49% of the BCH trades, followed by Bitcoin 39%, US dollar 5.5%. I guess that's QC. I don't even know what the fuck that is. 1.8%, and Ethereum 1.2%. Wonder what QC is. The debate over upgrade features. Besides the price, there's been a lot going on this week, and people have been heavily discussing the coming November's BCH protocol changes. Earlier this week, we mentioned the contention between the recently announced Bitcoin SV full node client and the newly published Bitcoin ABC 0.118.0 codebase. The issue at hand is that both clients want 2 different upgrade features to be added this November, and if they remain indifferent when the fork comes closer, Bitcoin Cash could face a chain split. Following the initial arguments, Bitcoin Unlimited revealed they would incorporate both clients' upgrades so miners can vote on which features they want out of all of the choices. Well, that's certainly a good way to go about it. The Bitcoin ABC vision. Bitcoin ABC has also addressed the community with a letter called the Bitcoin ABC Vision. The ABC development team says they want the world to have sound money that can be used by anyone, and the recent release of version 0.18.0 is the latest step towards that path. The team has detailed they believe Bitcoin Cash proponents should focus on zero confirmation transactions, implementing technical measures to enable massive on-chain scaling, and improving fungibility. The team has also published a diagram that explains in a visual way, some of the suggested plans and the features they believe would make a solid roadmap for Bitcoin Cash. The recent post written by Bitcoin ABC development team can be read in its entirety here. And we're going to right click on that. Alright, and that font is way too tiny on that graphic. Bitcoin Cash full node client developers reveal new release coming soon. The Bitcoin Cash full node implementation created by the Purse.io and Bitcoin developers have revealed on August 24th that a new release will be launched soon. Purse.io unveiled the Bcash full node client this past May, the same time the firm added native BCH support to the company's marketplace. Bcash 1.1.0 will include op_check data sig and canonical transaction ordering. Release coming soon, explains the development team on Friday. Bitcoin Cash is open to more merchants this week. The BCH community was very pleased to hear that Coinbase Commerce, CC, has added Bitcoin Cash support for its non-custodial merchant acceptance system. Essentially, CC allows for payment modules with OpenCart, WooCommerce, Shopify, Magento, and PrestaShop, exposing 2.7 million merchants to Bitcoin Cash. The payment processing platform Copay, there we go, who has merchants located in the Baltic states of Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and now Portugal, supports Bitcoin Cash settlement for all 52 Copay merchants. Nice. Never a dull day. Overall, there has been so much going on this week, it's been awfully hard to keep up with all the action taking place in the Bitcoin Cash environment. News.bitcoin.com tested 2 new Bitcoin Cash-powered token creation projects, Colored Coins Wallet and SLP, and created our own tokens. Further, we looked into recursive smelting and Bitcoin token concepts, and 2 more token projects using Bitcoin Cash that plan to launch soon. Then there was the odd announcement from the curious character Cobra, who plans on launching a Bitcoin Cash full node client called Cobra Client. Nevertheless, with all the craziness happening within the crypto space, there's one thing we can all be thankful for. There's never truly a dull day in Bitcoin land. Absolutely. And what do you think of everything happening within the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem this week? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Are there any comments? And no, there are no comments. That's weird. You would think there would be all kinds of people commenting on that one. So yeah, I think the price for Bitcoin Cash being as cheap as it is in contrast to Bitcoin, I think that's probably their biggest feature towards adoption or advantage where adoption is concerned. Sorry, I had to rehydrate there. But yeah, I have high hopes for it. I do think there is a scaling thing here that I am for in-chains. Hey, did you hear that? In-chains or in-chain? I was thinking about that. In-chains, as in chains. Putting Bitcoin in chains. Yeah, that doesn't sound very appealing. But anyway, I do want to follow up their Bitcoin SV full node client, whatever the fuck that business is. But first, I want to go with the Bitcoin ABC vision. And this one's on medium.com. The Bitcoin ABC vision. The goal of Bitcoin ABC is to help create sound money that is usable by everyone in the world. We believe this is a civilization-changing technology which will dramatically increase human freedom and prosperity. Our role in furthering this goal is to produce high-quality software that serves the needs of the community of users, miners, and merchants. We strive for continuous technical improvement to produce a reliable product that will provide a solid foundation for Bitcoin Cash. The recent release of Bitcoin ABC 0.18.0 was the latest step along this path. It continues the process of careful and incremental technological progress. In order to plan for the future, we base our plans on sound technical engineering to make design decisions. Based on this approach, we believe the future development of Bitcoin Cash should focus on 3 areas. Number 1, improving zero confirmation transactions. We want to ensure that the payment experience instant and reliable without requiring any changes to the consensus rules. Number 2, implementing technical measures to enable massive on-chain scaling. The fundamental design of Bitcoin Cash is sound, but there are some technical improvements that must be made to enable Bitcoin Cash to scale to a worldwide currency. I don't understand that thinking. You're already a fucking worldwide currency, dude. There's people using you all over the fucking planet. We are working to resolve immediate bottlenecks such as mempool admittance code and mining RPC, as well as laying the groundwork to enable massive on-chain scaling well into the future. Number 3, improving fungibility. As a cash system, Bitcoin Cash should embrace methods to improve its fungibility. Absolutely. We believe that the basic design of Bitcoin Cash is sound and does not need any radical change. However, this does not mean it is perfect. It is prudent to make incremental improvements to the system with technologically sound design and careful engineering. By implementing optimizations and protocol upgrades, we can enable peer-to-peer digital cash to scale many orders of magnitude beyond current limits. Let's see, complete, underway, and planned. Completed for Bitcoin ABC is, let's see, for scaling, canonical transaction ordering, scalable block processing, graphene faster block propagation, Merkle's tree, scalable block processing, metadata subtree, UTXO commitment, blockchain pruning, adjustable block cap ABC. Let's see, that's market driven growth to 1 terabyte blocks. See that? Before we were talking about 1 terabyte or 1 gigabyte blocks, and now we're talking about 1 terabyte blocks. I have to wonder exactly what are we planning to take on that you're going to be needing 1 terabyte every 10 minutes. I mean, I understand you got this pruning business going on, but still, 1 terabyte is a lot of fucking data. I mean, a lot of fucking data. As a matter of fact, I think if you accumulated all of the transactive activity, of course, short any of those high-frequency traders that go on the Dow and NASDAQ and all those markets, short of those, I think you could fit all of the normal economic activity, including black market economic activity, in far less than 1 terabyte every 10 minutes. So exactly what the fuck are we going to be putting in that 1 terabyte block? I don't get it. We've got Bitcoin struggling along, but nonetheless still functional at 1.8, roughly 1.8 megabytes worth of block space. So now, why are we even talking about 1 terabyte? I mean, and really, I would like a timestamp on that. You know, I mean, like, are we talking about like 20 years in the future we're going to need 1 terabyte blocks? Okay. Moore's Law, yeah. 10 years from now we're going to need 1 gigabyte. 20 years from now we're going to need 1 terabyte. Okay, yeah. I can go along with that kind of timeline. But, you know, they're talking about 128 in November. Right? You're not really using all the block space that you have available now, and you want to go to 128 megabytes. I don't know. I think scaling in that kind of pace, you're probably going to be alienating a lot of the network in some places. You know, some places that don't have their bandwidth developed out as much as they would need to be able to participate on that network. I mean, kind of bogarting them out of it. I don't really agree with that. Anyway, continuing on. The above design. Oh wait a minute, we didn't even cover all of it. And we're still reading on the roadmap. Usability. Cash Adder, which I fucking hate. Fucking hate Cash Adder. It sucks. It's shit. The next one is SigHash hardware wallet security, fee improvements, cheaper transactions. That helps everybody. Fractional Satoshis. Fees low forever. Pre-consensus. Near instant security for merchants. Best money. Secure within 3 seconds, transaction fees forever low. Extensibility is, and this is the like subheading under roadmap for extensibility. Number 1, basic opcodes. Number 2, op return at 223 bytes. Social networks can on-chain. Op underscore check data sig, oracles, and advanced scripts. More basic opcodes. Activation May 2019. More new transaction format, more capable, more compact. And token economy. All classes of assets traded on the blockchain. Let's see. And that was one of the ones I guess is partially something. It's funny, they've got a legend for it, but then they have symbols that they don't have on the legend. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I mean, are they underway? Because I mean, you got complete, underway, and planned, right? And so let's see, they've got canonical transaction ordering. They've got that done. They've got graphene done. They've got UTXO commitment done. They've got fee improvements done. They've got op underscore check data sig done. And they've got more basic opcodes done with a release expectation of 2019 May. And let's see. Underway. Oh, I'm sorry. Those were all underway. My apologies. Complete. They've got Cash Adder, which sucks ass. The next one is SigHash. The next one is basic opcodes. Opcode return at 223 bytes. Those are the 4 that they have done. They have planned Merklich's tree, metadata, adjustable block cap to 1 terabyte, fractional satoshis, pre-consensus, and new transaction format. But yeah, like token economy, they don't have it on their mankind scale. What the fuck is that? 50 transactions a day for 10 billion humans. Why would I need to do 50 transactions a day? I did 2 transactions today. I don't have a necessity to do 50 transactions in one day. I just don't. I don't care if I'm gambling. I don't have the necessity to do that. Now, I suppose if I were doing something in-game and that maybe, or maybe if I'm doing like something on video or something like that where I've got people potentially paying me while I'm doing video or something like that, okay. But at the same time, I don't see the necessity to do 50 transactions a day. Anyway, continuing on. The above diagram provides a general overview of some planned and suggested items the Bitcoin ABC team thinks would make a solid roadmap for Bitcoin Cash. We endeavor to work collaboratively with other groups in the ecosystem to improve and refine this roadmap and work together toward our common goal of improving Bitcoin Cash. In the coming weeks, we will be releasing a series of communications to provide more detail on the specific items we are working on and hope to work on in the future. To become a solid base for application development and innovation, Bitcoin Cash needs to continuously improve and compete. At Bitcoin ABC, we are working diligently building a technical foundation to empower Bitcoin Cash to be the best money the world has ever seen. There you go. That's certainly a laudable goal. Yeah. Let's see. Show all responses. Thanks for sharing. Let's read some of these comments. JC Morin. Thanks for sharing this awesome roadmap. Considering the drama with Bitcoin SV, could the ABC team also consider to include 128 megabyte blocks and some basic opcodes? I guess those features are also in your roadmap. Good. And let's see. Next one is Don McCracken. Thanks for the clarification. I have the utmost respect for ABC and Emory, but this SV versus ABC debacle couldn't have come at a worse time. We're in the middle of a bear market, and we're already fighting an uphill battle against the trolls and the haters. So we certainly don't need escalating infighting on top of that. This debacle is already having a negative impact on the price, and I don't even want to think about how hard it could crash if we're still at an impasse come October/November. If I understand it correctly, SV just wants to re-enable some opcodes as well as increase the block size. To me, it seems like a safe and uncontroversial plan, and as far as I know, most of the community are already on board with those changes. ABC, on the other hand, wants to add new features, and new features are always risky. So if there is not overwhelming consensus, which there isn't, it seems better and safer to postpone those for now. So as someone who wants to see Bitcoin Cash succeed and thrive, my wish would be for ABC to temporarily postpone their additions and instead re-enable the same opcodes as SV. And if ABC doesn't want the 128 megabyte block size increase right now, then SV should scrap that. By doing it this way, we could avert all of this forking FUD, and instead have plenty of time to come to consensus about what to do next year. Or we could skip this hard fork altogether. Sometimes doing nothing is better than doing something. Worst of all is that the Bitcoin Cash haters are just loving this. They can't wait to see us self-destruct. Please don't give it to them. I could not agree more, Don. That is very, very succinct. And I think if we keep all of the options on the table for the miners and merchants to select from, I think that is the best way to go about it. Because we're not really going to make everybody happy by throwing down some fucking gauntlet and saying, you're either with us or against us. Those kind of ultimatums, there are plenty of other fucking communities in this space where they have that kind of relationship between devs and communities. And, Bitcoin Cash didn't start off as that, and I'd really like to see that it stays not like that. That we don't have individuals coming up and saying, you will do it this way! You know what? Let us decide. You want to talk about censorship resistance and how we've seen a lot of censorship on Bitcoin. If you really want to compare to Bitcoin on that level, don't be adopting their practices. Allow the discussions to happen. They need to happen. In order to get this thing ironed out by October, November, they need to happen. Don't go blocking people on Twitter if you don't agree with them, even if they're being trollish, because by doing that, you cut the lines of communication with them. And that doesn't help anybody. You never know. They could change their mind. I've certainly changed my mind concerning this, because it seems like, for the moment at least, it's an actual discussion instead of a top-down ultimatum kind of thing. And like I said, as long as it remains a discussion and we're able to participate as we choose, I think that'll come to the best resolution for all parties involved and concerned. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And I hadn't picked anything out. I was so deep into that diatribe. But you know what? The computer kind of picked the right song for us anyway. I'm going to go with it. Soundgarden, Rusty Cage, here on Coin Metal. And that was Suicidal Tendencies with Give It Revolution. And as promised, I don't know if I actually read this. I may have at one point or another, but it's good to give a contrast to what we just covered, which was the Bitcoin Cash ABC or Bitcoin ABC variant of possible upgrades that they want to do. So here it is. This one was August 16th, 2016 by Jamie Redman. No indication of penis. Let's check and verify something. Yes! Jamie has a penis. And this is authored August 16th, 2018 at... God damn you, Jamie. Put your fucking time there, damn it. Anyway, continuing on. On Thursday, August 16th, the blockchain research and development firm nChain has officially announced a new Bitcoin Cash full node implementation is in the works called Bitcoin SV, Satoshi's Vision. nChain says the full node client was developed at the request of the mining pool CoinGeek and other BCH miners who support Satoshi's original vision. And as a matter of fact, I think I got this. Yeah, here we go. This is their actual presentation material from nchain.com. And I figured that was more appropriate. Anyway, this is by Jimmy Nguyen, Nguyen. My apologies, Jimmy. I'm not familiar. But yes, definitely penis. August 16th, 2018, Bitcoin SV full node implementation launched to fully restore original Bitcoin protocol. nChain, the global leader in research and development of blockchain technologies, announces the creation of Bitcoin SV, a new full node implementation of the original Bitcoin protocol, now restored in the form of Bitcoin Cash. Reflecting its mission to fulfill the vision of Bitcoin's founder, Satoshi Nakamoto, the project name represents the Satoshi Vision, or SV. Created at the request of leading BCH mining enterprise CoinGeek and other miners, Bitcoin SV is intended to provide a clear BCH implementation choice for miners who support Bitcoin's original vision over implementations that seek to make unnecessary changes to the original Bitcoin protocol. Earlier this week, CoinGeek made a clear statement about using its BCH hash power to support a Bitcoin protocol direction that is consistent with Satoshi's vision, or the Satoshi Vision. CoinGeek's announcement made clear it will not support implementations or projects that make unnecessary changes to the original Bitcoin protocol. CoinGeek founder Calvin Ayre explains, quote, "Because miners should drive the roadmap of the Bitcoin space, my apologies. CoinGeek and other miners asked nChain to create a professionally driven implementation of the Bitcoin full node software for use on BCH. that restores the original Bitcoin protocol. CoinGeek is sponsoring the project and intends to mine with Bitcoin SV. We invite other Bitcoin Cash miners to join us using Bitcoin SV to voice their support for the Satoshi vision. Enchain Group CEO Jimmy Nguyen comments, quote, answering the call of miners, Enchain is happy to provide technical capabilities needed to support Bitcoin SV. Once the Bitcoin protocol is fully restored and maintained, global businesses and developers can reliably build robust applications, projects, and ventures upon it, just as they reliably build upon the long-stable internet protocols. The future of Bitcoin is big blocks, big business, and big growth. Bitcoin SV is an important step toward that big future by advancing the professionalization of Bitcoin, i.e. kicking you and me the fuck out. That's what I think when I see professionalization of Bitcoin, is kicking everybody that made it valuable to begin with out. But that's just me. Roadmap. A comprehensive roadmap is in development, but the first goal is to have the initial Bitcoin SV release ready for testing by the first week of September 2018. The code will be based off of Bitcoin ABC version 0.17.2. The initial release will contain as minimal a change set as possible to support the November 15th, 2018 Bitcoin Cash protocol upgrade, because the first priority for Bitcoin SV is to establish security and best practices, or QA best practices. I couldn't agree more. For the first release of Bitcoin SV, these planned changes will bring Bitcoin Cash significantly closer to the original Bitcoin protocol. Number 1, restoring more original Satoshi opcodes. Op_mul dot, and then, or comma rather, op_L shift, op_right shift, or R shift, op_invert. 2. Removing the limit of 201 opcodes per script. Number 3. Raising the maximum block size to 128 megabytes. Once ready, code and supporting information will be available to the new Bitcoin S repository on GitHub. Bitcoin SV will be made available for open source usage under the MIT license. And we are going to right click that because we want to know. In addition to leading the Bitcoin SV project for CoinGeek, Enchain will continue developing its previously announced Terranode project for long-term development. Terranode will be an enterprise-level BCH full node implementation employing a microservices architecture approach to target terabyte plus block capacity. Okay. Developer team. The Bitcoin SV team has been constructed with a view to realizing industry best practices in order to deliver and maintain a full node implementation with an unprecedented commitment to quality assurance and stability. The lead developer will be Daniel Connolly, who joined Enchain after 20 years in enterprise systems and IT positions for United Nations agencies. Daniel contributed anonymously to Bitcoin for several years and has contributed to the Electron Cash project and is a primary contributor to the Bitcoin J-Cash project. Enchain's Steve Shatters will act as technical director, providing project oversight and liaison with sponsors. Steve began contributing to Bitcoin in 2011 authoring one of the first open-source mining pool engines, and was one of the earliest contributors to Bitcoin J. Additionally, the team will begin with a pool of 5 C++ developers with over 95 collective years of development experience, a part-time DevOps resource, a full-time QA engineer, and range of business support personnel. The project team is looking to hire additional C++ developers with either direct Bitcoin D experience or infrastructure experience. Applicants are invited to submit their expression of interest to careers@nchain.com. CoinGeek will provide Bitcoin SV with resources to support this professionalization of the Bitcoin development. Quality program. The Bitcoin SV project will reinforce its commitment to stringent quality with several measures. Firstly, the team will implement best practice change management policies and will seek to engage external QA expertise from other security-sensitive industries to monitor and audit these processes. Secondly, the project will engage the services of an industry-leading blockchain security audit firm. This outside team will serve 2 purposes. Number 1, complete a full security audit of the Bitcoin SV codebase, scheduled to begin in mid-October. This audit will cover not only the code itself, but also development practices and processes to assist in building the most robust node development team in the industry. Number 2, provide ongoing review and threat analysis of all code changes as and when they are submitted as candidates. Using an outside security audit firm requires significant expense, but CoinGeek and nChain are willing to contribute such costs for the good of the entire BCH ecosystem. So generous. Third, the Bitcoin SV project will offer a generous bug bounty program to motivate and mobilize security researchers around the world to find and report security vulnerabilities. The team will engage expert service providers in the field to develop an industry best practice, quote, responsible disclosure program. Yeah, bullshit. And set you up for fucking legalese bullshit. Gonna need a lawyer. In order to demonstrate its commitment to rewarding responsible bug disclosures, the Bitcoin SV team will begin by offering the highest tier reward of $100,000, sponsored by CoinGeek and of course payable in BCH, to Corey Fields, a security researcher who found and responsibly disclosed a potential BCH chain-splitting bug in May of this year. The result of this anonymous disclosure was a rapid and professional response that ensured the vulnerability was patched quickly and the network secured. Through its bug bounty program, the Bitcoin SV project wants to encourage more professional disclosures like that to help strengthen Bitcoin Cash. Competitive engagement. More node implementations and more competition are good for Bitcoin. Therefore, the Bitcoin SV project welcomes engagement from other implementation developer teams that choose to support the consensus changes proposed by Bitcoin SV. The Bitcoin SV team invites collaboration with those teams and encourages cooperation on testing and consensus code sharing. The nChain Group CEO Nguyen adds, quote, "This is an exciting but also critical time for the progress of Bitcoin Cash. We look forward to collaborating with groups around the world on projects such as Bitcoin SV to achieve our common goal, making the original Satoshi vision for Bitcoin a global reality." And there you have it. N-Chain's perspective on how this business is supposed to go on. My biggest concern with them, honestly, is that they their head guy or their lead, whatever, Craig, he's very, very abrasive, and he immediately blocked me on Twitter after that, after I'd asked a very, very simple question, and I've indicated this to other people, but I wasn't even rude about it. I wasn't even like cussing or anything like that, and he just like, oh, you're not on board? Drop that gauntlet. Come on now, give me a fucking break. I'm part of the community, I mean, I'm not saying you have to answer to me, but I am saying that blocking me out doesn't really help you in getting feedback. It shows about how should I say this? How enthusiastic you are about the idea of critical thinking. Anyway, I got this link here for the MIT license, and this is on Open Source Initiative. Permission is hereby granted free of charge to any person obtaining a copy of the software and associated documentation files, quote, the software, to deal in the software without restriction, including without limitation, the rights to use, copy, modify, merge, publish, distribute, sublicense, and or sell copies of the software, and to permit persons to whom the software is furnished to do so, subject to the following conditions. The above copyright notice and this permission notice shall be included in all copies or substantial portions of the software. The software is provided as is without warranty of any kind, expressed or implied, including but not limited to the warranties of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, and non-infringement. In no event shall the authors or copyright holders be liable for any claim, damages, or other liability, whether in an action of contract, tort, or otherwise, arising from, out of, or in connection with the software, or the use or other dealings in the software. Yeah. So this is like an absolution of guilt if you fuck up with the software, or if the software fucks up on you, or somebody monkeys with the software and that fucks you up. Which is kind of interesting, but it doesn't tell us anything about the patent status of the copyright holder and the copyrights that in question. Doesn't address those at all. Anyway, so yeah, that was that. And I don't know what to think of it. I think the 128 megabyte block size increase, I think that's a little overblown, a little bit early. But hey man, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. If the miners want to do it, they will do it. Anyway, seeing as we're talking about changes, we're not going to restrict this solely to Bitcoin Cash, because there are more changes afoot in cryptocurrencies that are just as big, if not actually much bigger than Bitcoin Cash. I wanted to rehydrate with something a little tasty here. Tasty beverage. Oh. Alright, here we go. And this next one I got here is on Cointelegraph.com by Anna Alexander. I'm assuming no penis. Ethereum core devs debate Constantinople hard fork and, quote, difficulty bomb during meeting. Ethereum core developers have held their regular meeting on YouTube August 24th on the progress of client implementation and tests of the Enterprise Integration Patterns, EIPs, for the upcoming Constantinople hard fork. The meeting started with a discussion of the latest updates on the processes of no-proof blockchain tests and the progress achieved on major Ethereum clients, with one of the devs explaining that there is a need to revamp some of the testing to avoid potential consensus issues. This week saw the release of a number of new features, however. The devs noticed one instability with a, quote, huge major minor rewrite, which is supposed to be solved by the next update. By Monday, the devs are planning to push out another release, quote, to have the whole thing completed and finalize the mining release issue. In terms of the Constantinople hard fork, hardly anything has changed for the last 2 weeks, according to the meeting. The devs reported on several bug fixes and new tweaks for the testnet, and also that the EIP 1211 will not be included in the upcoming hard fork. The devs also came to a decision that is far better for the network, that it is far better for the network to stay on schedule and release new hard forks in time, as opposed to rushing and involving new EIPs or delaying those ready for implementation at the expense of ones that are still under development. Speaking about the possibility to have a second hard fork if it is, quote, really hard to get the changes bundled for all of the EIPs for Constantinople, one of the devs said, quote, if we stay on the time, we would want more features to this particular Constantinople hard fork, and we should discuss if it's good to have many changes in one hard fork, or if it's better to have less changes in many hard forks. The devs also decided to release new hard forks every 8 months after the Constantinople hard fork. The proposal of a release every 6 months was rejected, as it would create too much pressure for the dev team. Further discussion was devoted to the issue of adding a, quote, difficulty bomb and its impact on the reduction and maintenance of block rewards. According to the devs, EIP 858 would reduce block rewards to 1 Ethereum per block. EIP 1234 would reduce block rewards to 2 Ethereum, while EIP 1295 would keep rewards to 3 Ethereum, but will affect other factors such as the proof-of-work incentive structure. Pfft. Dude, put a fucking gun to their heads, why don't you? In order to determine which 3 possible scenarios is preferable, the devs called on the community members. Some of the participants pointed out that the environmental impact of Ethereum mining, while others insisted on decreasing profitability or even excluding ASIC miners from the Ethereum network. In the end, the participants in the discussion could not reach common ground, so the devs decided to hold another meeting next week on August 31st. As of press time, Ethereum is currently trading around $281, down almost 10% on the week and 41% on the month. Yeah. So, I was talking about earlier how there are some projects in this space that are a bit more heavy-handed than we're seeing the dev groups for Bitcoin Cash going about their business. And I think some of that can be said for Ethereum. Oh shit! Just to let you know, we're back over $7,000 on Bitcoin. Anyway, back to what I was saying there. Ethereum has shown a tendency to be a little more heavy-handed and coercive with regard to their development path, and I guess it's because they actually have a vision that they're trying to achieve, and gotta stay on tack for that. But how that will play out in the longer term, it should be kept in mind that Ethereum is not the only such project out there. There's Ethereum Classic, and believe it or not, they've been picking up steam. So, with regard to that, they really don't have as much space, I think, to negotiate as they think they do. And it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not egos in the room play a really significant role in how it goes. I'd really like to see them go more with a collaborative approach with the miners. Instead of saying, "Oh, hey, by the way, we're thinking about cutting down the block reward from three Ethereum to 1 Ethereum." I mean, really, dude, come on now. Come on. You got to be going to the miners and saying, "All right, we're considering some possible changes. What would you like to see? What would you like to see us change? What would you be willing to accept us changing concerning Ethereum?" And start it from there. See what the return is. When they come back to you and they say, "Hey, we want you to radically alter Ethereum, and we want you to drop the block reward down to 1 Ethereum per block." Okay, now you're talking. Because they've already opened that with that as a condition. But I guarantee you will get a much smoother transition than this idea of, "Oh, we're going to do one hard fork now, and then we're going to wait a couple months, and we're going to do another hard fork, and then we're going to do another hard fork, and then we're going to do another hard fork," trying to get these implementations in. Again, I think you really need to be going to the miners and saying, "Hey, you're a significant part of the community, a very significant part of the community. How exactly would you like to see Ethereum go forward?" And start your discussion about what to develop from there. Because I can guarantee you, as the live network, they probably have some really deep insight, and I don't know to what extent Ethereum actually does this already. For all I know, they talk to every miner individually. But they have a lot more experience running your network than a bunch of people sitting in a boardroom considering changes to the code. So again, I really think that opening the discussion with possible desires and concerns that they currently have is probably a better way to go about it, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down into some music. And fuck it, I've been dying to play a little bit of Static X, so here it is. Machine, here on Coin Metal. And that was Cavalera Conspiracy with Inflicted. And it is with that I would like to close out this episode. We will be back again on Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so until then, I'd like y'all to trade safe. Do your homework. And watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And as far as the last dance, I actually picked one out for today. This one, I think this goes out to all you crypto traders that are going to be burning the midnight oil all weekend long. Here it is, Prong, Avenue of the Finest, Last Dance, here on Coin Metal. Thank you very, very much for listening. You can find my episodes up on YouTube. Like and follow on YouTube. And also, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, and Discord in the Verge Currency channels for both Telegram and Discord. So, until Monday, y'all have an excellent weekend. Thank you very, very much for listening, and y'all have an excellent weekend. Bye.